Hello, everybody. My name is AfroX Philosopher, and I am here today seemingly alone, but not really alone because.
Hello.
We have Michael Hasseth here live, our other co host. Now, what is going to be happening today is what's going to be happening here today is that since Michael is here live, he is going to be just a faceless voice on the other side of the microphone. Hopefully, you will be able to hear him. But we are going to do the regular show today, but you will just be looking at my amazing pretty face.
I can talk loudly enough; they'll hear me.
Oh, they'll hear you. So with that, let's get started. Our topics for today are going to be Trump's foreign policy and business dealing with Iran. And then we are going to be talking about, we're continuing in the 7 Deadly Sins series. This week we are talking about lust. And we will be answering the question of the day. And today's question of the day is, why do we chase what won't satisfy? All right. So, let's start off episode 5. I'm suddenly panicking and wondering if this is actually episode 6.
Nope, this is 5.
This is 5. Okay, good. All right. So starting off, Trump's foreign policy with Iran. So I will say that first off, that a lot of my news has kind of gotten cut off at the source because I watched Stephen Colbert, and now Stephen Colbert is no more. Now he's not dead; he's just not on the air anymore. And so now I'm getting my news from like Jimmy Kimmel and Jon Stewart. And the other day, Jon Stewart was talking about Trump's foreign policy with Iran, and mostly the fact that Trump is once again promising that there is a deal in the works for dealing with Iran and opening the Strait of Hormuz. And Jon Stewart was making the point that he has said this countless times, like 20 times in the past, that he's very close to making a deal, or they are making a deal, or a deal is already done. And that every single time that it keeps falling through, the deal won't work. They don't want to make a deal. And that has been humorous, but also very frustrating. Especially since some people remember that Obama originally had a made a nuclear deal with Iran, and it was really good. It was really doing some good stuff. And then when Trump came in, he immediately got rid of Obama's nuclear deal just because he wanted to scrap everything that had anything to do with Obama or Democrats or anything like that. But yeah, so Trump is trying to garner a new deal, and he is not doing too well at it, and keeps promising things that aren't really coming through. So, did you have any thoughts on that, Mike?
I'm not super highly informed on all that, but I mean, it just sounds like everything that Trump. Have you seen any of the stuff going on with his Trump Mobile, like the phone?
No, I have not.
Oh, well, this is his Playbook 101. They've been promising that the phone would come out, like, basically any day now for almost, like, at least, like, the last 10 months, if not the last year. And it just keeps not coming out. So it's like his playbook to just keep saying, yeah, any day now. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Trump 101.
Interesting.
That just means, I mean, who knows? Is what that means.
Yeah. So yeah, that is the truth. Like, who knows when the war with Iran is going to get over, or when they'll open up the Strait of Hormuz.
Do you know what our objective there even is? And I'm not saying that I know because I actually don't know, but I'm asking, do you know?
Oh.
What is our established objective to accomplish in?
I believe, according to Trump, our objective is well. He said it a ton of times. He said the only deal he will go with is they don't get a nuclear weapon at all. They don't start developing one. They don't like have the resources to build one. They just flat out don't get a nuclear weapon.
How do we accomplish that with the war? Because like we can't be at war until they don't get a nuclear weapon. That doesn't. That's it. That sounds like another Afghanistan. Well, welcome to the next 25 years.
Exactly. Yeah, you make a really good point there. We can't be at war until they. Well, really more. I'm guessing it's a thing of like, we are at war until they say, okay, we'll stop producing a nuclear weapon.
But they said, okay, we'll stop doing that, like, before any of this, like, years ago.
Exactly, with Obama's deal.
So,
yeah.
So what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so then what the timeline for is... Yeah, unfortunately, because how long are we gonna for? Yeah.
Why are we at war? Yes.
Yeah. The real question is, why are you questioning why we're at war?
Exactly.
When you could just instead be like barely making enough money to buy groceries anymore.
Actually, you know why we're at war?
Stop thinking about this war because you have to think about how you can't afford your bills anymore.
Yeah. You know why we're at war?
Why are we at war?
We are at war because war helps all it helps all of the big companies make money.
Well, yeah, but then they can't just say that. So that's why I'm asking what our motivation is. I know that's the real reason.
Yeah.
I'm not obviously, but I want to know what the cover they put over it is. You know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what goes on in Trump's mind. It may be nothing.
Well, and it's not just. I mean, there are other influences besides Trump here with this war.
I will say well, first of all, I'll say there's not really much to talk about on this, but I will get into something that I do know about. Probably like 5 years ago, I think it was, I started, and I don't do it anymore, but I started trading on Robinhood because I wanted to see if I could figure out day trading on the stock market and stuff. And I absolutely couldn't because
how much money were you working with?
Wasn't working with a lot. I was working with like $20.
That's day trading.
Yeah. Not gonna lie. But I quickly realized the thing about trading stocks is that if you are trading stocks, you have to kind of be on the Republican side because you are like rallying for the worst companies in the world to do well. Like
tell that to Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, if you have stock in oil, you want gas prices to go up, and gas prices go up when you go to war with people who have oil.
Well, the cost of a barrel of oil goes up, but it's more complex than that because have you seen the fuel crisis worldwide, which is slowing down production on goods that they would want, is not necessarily, that's not creating, I don't know. there's a lot more at play than just the stock market and the war. But there is a lot of nefarious things at play with the stock market, correct? And just, the way most of our money works nowadays.
Yeah. But I mean, like, even if you put stock in like Walmart and Disney and things that like really can't fail, like you're still cheering for pretty evil companies to do well.
But I mean, yeah, I guess you're hoping that they're going to do well because you put your money into their stock or whatever. But ultimately, like, you're just piggybacking on the system that's already messed up, I think, too. I don't know.
It's like it's like gambling on a horse, putting a bet on a horse, but the jockey just punched your mother.
I'm not going to justify it too much because I also don't necessarily know where you're going with that analogy there, but
with the horse racing analogy,
the jockey just punched your mother.
Yeah, it's like betting on a horse, but that horse's jockey just punched your mother.
Right, but like, did Walmart just punch my mother, or did Walmart just like take over the local businesses and then make it so my mother only had one place to shop? Like, that's not a punch. That's different.
It's not a punch, but it hurt the community.
It did hurt the community, but it didn't punch her in the face. It was a lot more subtle,
The punch is a metaphor, Mike.
That's not a good metaphor is what I'm trying to say.
The punch is always a metaphor.
The punch is not a good metaphor. You need to come up with a better metaphor is what I'm trying to say.
I gotta put that in quotes. I'm gonna use that line at some point. The punch is always a metaphor.
What I'm saying is just like, I don't know. I can't say that it's necessarily good to use that, but also at this point, with the way everything is set up, I totally understand why people use the stock market to make money if you can. It's a complete gamble often, unless you're somebody that's on the inside, which is supposed to be illegal, except it often is not for people in like Congress and stuff like that. And the ultra wealthy, sometimes they'll get you, like if you're Martha Stewart or something, but otherwise, like, so if you're playing it by the rules, yeah, it's a lot more of a gamble. But is it necessarily, are you more unethical to purchase a stock with a company than you are to purchase your like groceries there?
Technically, no.
Why?
Because both things. Well, I don't know if having stock in Walmart is benefiting the company.
Well, then why are you saying that you're saying that if you buy their stock, it's to the benefit that they've sold stock, so they've gotten that money.
Now, if you buy the stock of Walmart, you should probably shop at Walmart.
I mean, that would make sense, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you were saying it's you're going to be cheering for them, so it's unethical to do that. Right? Is that your proposition here? Because you bought their stock, now you're invested in their success. So that's unethical because they're a bad company?
Because they...
And I'm using Walmart because I know they have a lot of practices
because they have
I disagree with.
Yeah, because they've done bad things.
Yeah. No, not necessarily to put them on blast in particular, but... Also, why not? What are they going to do? I'm not going to hurt Walmart by talking about them at all. So,
like, what's a widely hated company?
Walmart.
Yeah, Walmart.
Well, okay, Comcast.
So yeah, you. Well,
or like what's somebody that's even more unethical?
Like, okay. OpenAI. Actually, no, that is really good. Tesla. There we go. Tesla. You put stock in Tesla, and if you tell anyone you put stock in Tesla, they may come back and hate you for it. But you're like you would have to be okay with it because like you want to make money.
But if you put stock in Tesla, are you proposing that you agree with Elon Musk's political activities?
Yes.
Or are you just saying that you like the direction that this company's electric cars have taken
I mean,
and
unless you're
you
trading
desire
like a
to make
robot,
money off of that.
unless you're trading like a robot, then you're just like, I'm literally just doing this for the money. And I
So
don't
then,
care
does
about the
the
companies.
owner of the company always predicate the ethics of it? Like, if the owner of the company does something, does that automatically mean that you support that by having a stake in it financially? Or does that mean that
I
you've
think by
just
proxy.
seen this company's success and you desire to make money off of it? Because, like, I think if you really get into
Time.
What?
Time. I'm just telling you we got to wrap this up.
Okay. I think if you can really get into it, a lot of companies do a lot of bad things, and it's just unfortunately human nature that everybody's going to have darkness built in, and they're going to have things they're willing to do. And in a level of a company that there's a lot of them that do really bad things, but that you still have to navigate through. If you're going to make money in the at all in the world, then you have to make money normally off a company or do it yourself, and you're still going to somehow interface with these other companies. So how do you escape any of that, basically? And where do you draw the lines? I have a lot more questions than answers that we can have in a 10-minute or whatever segment.
That is true. All right, we are about to move on to the main topic, one of the main topics of today, the 7 deadly sin of lust. But first, I should say what I forgot to say at the top of the show, which is the slogan for Great Minds, which is everything happens for a reason. We're just here asking why. And it looks like we do have one viewer who just left. It's like flickering in
bye.
one. It's like flickering in one viewer every so often.
Well, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hello and goodbye, one viewer. It's good to see you when you pop in.
Yes. So, let's talk about the deadly sin of lust. So as mentioned last week, the 7 deadly sins were created by Evagrius Ponticus, the I think it's 8th. I want to say, was it 16th, or it wouldn't have been 18th. It was like 16th century monk. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. Were we talking about this last week? We just looked it up like
because
40 minutes ago.
I was talking about gluttony.
He was 200 AD, whatever century that is. Like one.
That's a 1st century monk. So anyways, if Evagrius Ponticus came up with them.
Oh, wait. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong question. 4th century.
4th century. And then Pope Gregory, I don't know which number.
6th century.
Yeah, 6th century, Pope Gregory.
And then also St. Thomas Aquinas, because he wrote whatever the heck his thing is that everyone always quotes that cites the 7 deadly sins, and that's 13th century. But that was probably what brought it to our attention, or what put it in the modern canon.
But yeah, Pope Gregory
and correct me if I'm wrong, sorry, because I'm not Catholic, and the Catholics would know better than I would.
Yeah, Pope Gregory changed them and kind of really fashioned them into what they are today. And today we are talking about lust, which lust by definition is a very strong, often overwhelming craving or desire. While it is most commonly associated with intense sexual appetite, it can also describe an uncontrollable hunger for power, wealth, success, or other material things, which that gets confusing because
as we separated it earlier, because before we started recording, we were talking about the difference between lust and
greed
was, and it seems basically just to be like a feeling, or like what you would receive as like a pleasure or a feeling, versus a physical object. So
Yeah.
greed is for something physical, and lust is for something sensual, or like the actual feeling of the thing, not the experience of like having the thing.
Greed is wanting a piece of candy, and lust is wanting the happiness that comes from eating a piece of candy.
But it could also be said that the lust is just for the taste of the candy, and then the greed is for like knowing that you have the candy so you can satisfy the lust.
Yeah.
So it's just the physical side.
It's greed and lust if you have your cake and eat it too.
I guess.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Correct.
Okay.
That's funny.
That's what I intended to be. So yeah. So there is lust. And the sin of lust punishment is detailed in the second circle of hell in Dante Alighieri's 14th century poem Inferno, which is in the first part of the Divine Comedy. The punishment of sinners in the second circle of hell is an example of Dantean contrapasso, inspired jointly by the biblical Old Testament and the works of ancient Roman writers. Contrapasso is a recurring theme in the Divine Comedy in which a soul's fate in the afterlife mirrors the sins committed in life. Here, the unreasoning nature of lust results in souls cast about in a relentless, unreasoning wind. So, when people who had lust in their lives go to hell, they are pretty much trapped in an eternal tornado.
Well, it makes sense because it's supposed to parallel like the feeling of the lust, which is getting blown about by its, because lust is just going to appear as you see things, as you desire things. So you're being blown about internally. It's just taking that and turning it into another level. So that's fascinating. I guess I understand why they would write it as such.
Yeah. Now, for a slightly more brutal take, the punishment for lustful acts in the Japanese hells are as follows. The first one is the hell of string-like worms, reserved for those who sexually defiled religions, such as seducing monks or nuns. Sinners are laid on burning iron floors with hooks, where hell wardens force bowstring-shaped worms into their bodies to eat their innards. The place of painful hair, where women who seduce monks are trapped. Their skin is violently peeled off by demons until only bones remain, only to grow back so the torment can be repeated eternally. And the hell of cloud, fire, and mist. This plane houses adulterers alongside other sinners who are burned relentlessly in enormous writhing flames. So that all says to me, lust, not a good idea.
Well, it says to me that whoever wrote that, instead of like having it be a metaphor, they were just actually pissed at the people that were doing that stuff. So they wanted to say what really bad things were going to happen, and that's what it sounds like to me.
I really hate these lustful people.
It's like, no, you really need to stop, or the worms.
These lustful people must die.
Yeah, how dare you do that to a monk? The worms will get you.
Yeah.
No, that's what that sounds like to me. Because the first one, at least in Dante, like it wasn't. It kind of was a metaphorical parallel to an emotional state that I can appreciate. That one just sounds like somebody was angry.
Also a note. When you die, please pray you go to Dante's hell and not the Japanese hell.
Wait, when you die, you're gonna pray to go to hell?
Oh,
have fun with that.
Yeah.
You might want to get out of that practice.
Hope you go to Dante's hell.
Oh, you're just gonna hope that you go to hell. Maybe stop wishing or desiring hell in the first place is the point that I'm trying to make.
If you already know you're going to hell.
That wasn't predicated in the first statement.
That is true. You have beaten me with propositional logic. And I should know. I aced a college class in propositional logic.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't even have to take a class if that makes you feel worse about yourself.
It does. Hey, every time I look and see we have one viewer, they immediately leave as soon as I look. They're
Stop
literally
looking. It's just like the ghost of viewers past.
they're like weeping angels. Whenever you look at them, they leave.
Yeah.
Or the I wish they were like weeping angels. Whenever you
Maybe they're
don't
just
look at
there
them,
when
they
I'm
get closer.
talking. And if they're just there when I'm talking, that's my FBI agent. Hi, I know I've said a lot of crazy things, but don't worry, it's all good up here. I am mentally sound. Trust me.
I thought you were gonna say
Don't
that
listen to anybody else. Trust me.
I thought you were gonna say that meant they don't like my voice.
No. They're just less interested in what you have to say because you're
thank
not
you
on
for
as many
being
lists.
kind. Thank you for being kind.
The lists that I'm on, that just means that I always get attention. It's good.
So what are my thoughts? Well, first of all, let's see. Am I a lustful guy? Do I do lustful things sometimes? I have lustful thoughts, that's for sure. I don't know. I think I lust less in my life nowadays, and that's mostly because I've grown to a point where, specifically with women, where I don't get immediately like turned on when I see a hot woman. Like, in order to be turned on, I need some kind of history with that woman. Like when I was 25, I went to Saratoga, which was I will say for YouTube, male pleasure house. It really occurred to me that like I didn't care that these ladies were dancing for me because I had no historical connection to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of don't really I mean, I can objectively appreciate like I'm bisexual, so I can like appreciate a hot girl or a handsome guy's body, but like lust, not really unless I have like some connection to them. If a girl can sing, oh my gosh, yes, I'm done. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I mean, you're delving specifically into like the sexual lust, which makes sense, but I think in the most broad and abstract sense, it's just like the desire or the feeling of desire, the craving itself of wanting something. Which I guess I find fascinating that is what they kind of define as the sin is the desire itself and not necessarily like the enactment of it. So I don't know if to desire something is inherently wrong as much as it's what you do with that. So it's a dangerous ground to be in.
True.
And if you're constantly entertaining that, I just think it depends too, like with anything, you know, you can be around people that you're attracted to and not be a creep or like weird them out or do anything like that. So you don't have to necessarily, even if you feel lust for something, does that mean that you have to enact that or behave in such a way that you become disruptive? If you feel that way and you are able to just sit with it and not do anything, then what does that mean? Are you still in the wrong there? Because then it's just going to be like something I feel like that arises, you know, or you can't not think about something because that's what makes you think about it, you know. It's so to say not to desire something is kind of silly. It's just what are you going to do with that? And will the feeling of not fulfilling it
Side note.
drive you to do things that are of consequence.
Well, I do think there has to be a fine line between desiring something and lust.
Well, I think it's the feeling of it. It seems to be, from what I read on the summary of it here, is it's just defined as the craving itself, which that's how I always interpreted it.
Yeah, but if I say, hey, I feel like having an apple, I'm not lusting after that apple. I just want an apple.
Right, but what if you're like, hey, I really want an apple, man? Like, are you lusting after an apple now?
I think lust should be defined as a craving for something so powerful that you are willing to like do something bad to get it.
So there it is, that it does become the action itself, or the line where it bypasses anything that you believe you could do about it.
Yeah, once it becomes something dark, something sinful in your heart, then I think that's where the line is crossed.
Right, because I don't think it's necessarily wrong to perceive something, you know.
Yeah.
At least unless it's like you're trying to perceive something somebody told you not to, like peeping at them or something. But like, you know, otherwise just to feel your own feeling about something, it's not that, but it's like what you do with it. So if the lust is the point where you choose to do something, or where you choose to enact something or treat somebody a certain type of way, then I guess do you think for yourself personally there is a point where you can no longer control yourself? Or is that what you're claiming, or no?
Well,
or is there just a point where you choose to no longer control yourself?
Yeah. And I was just gonna add there, like, I mean, even with sexual stuff, if like
you were falls under the same as the rest,
if you were away from like say you had a wife, if you were away from your wife for like 3 days on a camping trip, and at the beginning of the third day you wake up and you're like, I kind of miss my wife. That's not lusting after your wife, but if you're just like, I am willing to crash into cars and run people over in traffic to get home and see my wife, that's lust.
Okay, but then again, like, yeah, sure. If you're, by your definition, you're willing to crash into cars and run people over, like, that's the problem here. Is wanting to have sex with your wife supposedly a problem? But according to the church, I would hope not. That doesn't seem to be a problem. Like, but so then are you defining that as lust as just the desire, and is that then wrong? Because with pride, again, we found that it's kind of double-edged. Like, there's pride that was good and there's pride that was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So is lust and the feeling and the giving into that always bad if it's in a mutual... I mean, don't use wife. That's like the most everybody seems to agree that that's the point where you're supposed to feel like that, right? Like,
well, that's why I used it.
So why would that then be a problem? It wouldn't, right? It shouldn't be.
I mean, if you're willing to,
if she says no and you do it anyways, that's a problem.
Yeah, if you're willing to hurt her or other people to get what you want, then that's bad.
Right, but again, then it's only if you're willing to. We've changed the dynamic. You just said if you're on a camping trip, so that doesn't apply. Just to desire your wife, that's silly. I think. I wouldn't go that far, and I don't nearly believe
that's exactly the point I'm making. Is missing your wife is not
conversation. So
yeah, that's the exact point I'm making. Is that missing your wife is not lust.
Right, but then why does it become lust?
When you are willing to hurt her or other people to get to her.
So is lust because you're willing to hurt somebody? That again, I just don't think that's how it's normally been.
My point is that the difference is overindulgence.
Yeah. Overindulgence.
Because that's the thing with all the deadly sins, really. Is that by themselves their base root are not except for pride. but at their base root, they're not a bad thing. It's when you overdo them. If you overindulge in like food, just for example, I know there's other things, but just for example, food, then it's gluttony. But if you just want something to eat, that's not gluttony.
Okay, I found what a summary of what Dante meant. It's lust is defined as the willful choice to cherish and fuel the craving. So that's what lust is to hold on to instead of just sit with it. So you're choosing to continue down a path that's going to take you. So it's not once you hit the point where you can't control yourself anymore, but it's to choose to keep going to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that makes sense, to not break yourself free from a cycle that
it is choosing to chase and pursue after something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because then again, like I said, it's I just think it's silly to be like it's lust as, between for
which honestly is a perfect segue into our question of the day, which is why do we chase what won't satisfy? Mike, do you want to go first on this?
Sure. Yeah. Just because I was the one that liked the premise of the question, but yeah. Well, I think that the question is fascinating because it addresses, it. I think that's kind of descriptive of lust, especially with how we've now established it to be, that it's sort of the continuing of the feeling, or the giving in to, or the fueling of the feeling, because I think that lust, or that picture you paint in your head of the thing that you desire, whether it's sexual or anything else, I think it tends to be. Remember when we were talking about addiction, and I was saying it's almost akin to like holding your breath. Like people will treat that they need that thing so bad that it's almost the same as if they can't breathe. They'll act in the same way. Like it's almost that, where it's like you, by giving into it, are giving it almost the same space or room as something vital, such as breath or food, or something realistically that's actually needed. And so by putting it on that level, you suspect that it's going to nourish you like that, or, and so what you usually get out of the thing, the lust, or the thing that you desire, that, because those things you desire, satisfaction isn't like a permanent thing. You'll feel accomplished once you get to something, but then it's like we were talking about before the podcast, where if you eventually something becomes kind of baseline, whether it's good or bad, the more you're exposed to something, the less it's like with a drug or with anything, like you their first time versus the more times you do it, you don't have to lose something entirely that you just can't do it anymore, but like it will become more and more something that you're used to, and lose some of the magic. And so I think that we put such big ideas on a lot of the things that we desire, whether we're actually lusting after it or if it's just a fantasy in your head that you want something. That like often when you get there, it's not actually what you thought it was going to be, or the moment passes and then there's like you've got more time to fill still. So often we think we're finding the end. We're like, once I get here, I'm gonna have made it. Once I get here, I'm gonna feel good. Once I get here, and it's like everything is constantly changing, and so you're always gonna just keep constantly changing, and feeling satisfied will happen, but it's not going to stay, and we want to stay satisfied. And so I think that's ultimately what is just that we delude ourselves into thinking that satisfaction is a permanent state that we can reside in. instead of it just being like the scratch of an itch to when you pursued something and you finally get to it, you get a rewarding feeling, but you don't get to stay there. And the more often you do that, the more you get used to it, and you have to keep doing different things, So
Mhm.
I guess that's a long way of saying that I think just naturally we want something to satisfy us, and we keep pointing in our head at things and thinking that will be the one, but there's not usually. It's like the satisfaction's got to come from the journey and not the destination, because the only destination that we know of that we can't think of something after that really is death, and until then you're just gonna have to keep going, and you're never gonna hit something that's truly satisfying for the rest of your life. You're just gonna find moments of it.
Yeah.
So I think that's why what we desire, it's never satisfying, is because our definition of satisfaction is flawed, because we think that there's this point where it's going to come without needing the contrast of not being satisfied to get there. So that's that.
Okay. I think Kat Denning said it best in one of the first episodes of Two Broke Girls when she said, Christmas is a time that where we go shopping and we fill the hole in we go shopping for gifts to fill the hole in our heart that reminds us that life is hard, and then we die.
It's kind of like that. But it's just the idea that the shopping is going to fill the hole in your hearts. Like, it's a fun thing that you're going to do, but is that going to permanently satisfy you? No, it's going to give you some sense of enjoyment. And unfortunately, the more often you do it, you might also put pressure on it every year if you think that it's a big deal, and find ways to steal even the little moments of joy out of that. So.
Well, I think to try to answer the question of why do we chase what won't satisfy, I would say that it goes back to greed a little bit, or it ties in with gluttony and greed. These three, greed, gluttony, and lust, all kind of work together. And I think that chasing after what won't satisfy is that things that we chase after things that won't satisfy because either we had an experience with them in the past that was positive, but it wasn't positive for long in the short term, or we are told by people that we trust to be reliable that these things will bring happiness. Why do people say you should, or why do people tell the youth to get a job? Because people think that money will objectively satisfy them, and
no, actually, it's because shelter and food and insurance and vehicles and all of that all cost money, and you can unfortunately have a hard time existing without such things in this society. So I think that is not a good example there, but there are other good examples that would fit that. So
okay.
If maybe when you're really rich, then you tell your kids to just go out there and keep perpetrating that to find satisfaction, but people often don't work to find satisfaction, or they hope to find it in their work, but it's not the entire reason why we work.
Okay.
Nobody would work if that was just to find satisfaction. They would all just like do their hobbies.
I'm trying to use money as an example of something we could chase that won't satisfy.
Well, yeah, that's not the reason why we work, though. That's the reason why we continue to try climbing throughout our lives, to find better and better and more. There is a certain level of money that if you don't hit that, you have objectively more stress in your life than you would like to have. And so there is a point to climb towards, just to like, be able to be like, I paid all my bills and I've got like a little bit of extra money in the bank and I've got food in the, like, that's a good place to strive for, just so that you don't, when everything else happens to you, then at least you got your bases covered.
Okay.
So I think that you can't say that entirely about that.
I think a better point from me would be that we don't care about gaining money from the time we are born. We are told that having money is a good thing or an important thing.
Yeah.
And so because we are told that promotes us to try and chase after it.
That's a fair assessment. Yes.
Yeah.
That we are sold the idea of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you do? Like,
but I mean, to be honest, that's not chasing after a thing that won't satisfy, because money does satisfy in a way.
And we are absolutely sold the idea that if you get more things, you're going to be more happy.
That's a good point.
That is something that I think a lot of people, when they actually get there, seem to reflect that, like, sure, your bases are all covered, but it's not like you're just going to expect to find satisfaction and happiness. I think satisfaction that we are looking for is not found through the obtaining of any state or item,
Mm-hmm.
I think real satisfaction is
experiences.
Learning, well, yeah, but also just learning to be comfortable with the experiences that you're having, like
I don't like that. I don't like the idea of being comfortable with experiences you're having. My mantra is always aim ever higher. Higher, further, faster is what I always say.
But what I'm saying is not that you shouldn't try and have better, or that, like, I guess maybe I should expound, but like, maybe you shouldn't place your satisfaction on that higher level.
Okay.
Because
I mean, if you don't have that, then
if it's
eventually
always on the higher level, then every time you climb up, you're just going to find that the satisfaction's on the next level. It's on the next level. You can learn to find it on the level,
and then you do something else
while still climbing. You can climb just for the sake of climbing and seeing where it takes you, without truthfully believing that that's going to be what satisfies you.
Yeah, I mean, for example, what is my greatest dream? My greatest dream, like describing it specifically, I want to stand on stage and be performing in front of an entire packed Madison Square Garden. Right. That is my specific dream. When I get there, what will I do next?
Yeah, because I was going to say, let's do a thought experiment. Let's say, picture this with me. That was yesterday. You just did it yesterday. You had the greatest experience you've been picturing your entire life. The hype was real. It felt as good as you thought it was going to feel. That never happens, but it happened to you. Now what? Now what do you do that you hit the peak? What do you do with the rest of your life?
You make a new goal.
Right. So was that the satisfaction you thought it was going to be, or now are you stuck with the fact that you have to make a new goal to find satisfaction again?
I think Mike, I think that's the journey of life.
But that's what I'm trying to say then, was the satisfaction then the obtaining of your ultimate goal? Once you've hit that, is that your peak of satisfaction?
Well, then
the next day
we come to the question.
Bask in the glory of having done it, but what do you do for the next,
Then we come to the point of there really is no peak of satisfaction. Life is literally just continuing to aim ever higher.
But that's the point I'm trying to make. So, like, do you have to aim higher once you've hit your highest goal then?
I mean, if you don't, you get depressed, or you're just
That's what I'm saying! Yeah. I'm saying if you keep putting your satisfaction at a higher and higher, you're doing the drug addict chasing the dragon. You're telling me you got to get a bigger and bigger hit every single time, and what's wrong with that? And I'm saying maybe you should learn to not have to do that, and it's not a difficult. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not necessarily something that I've learned to do. But I'm saying, wouldn't that be a better system than just always having to get a better and better thing in life to be satisfied?
Yeah, but if you so thought experiment. If you accept your level of accomplishment, then what wakes you up every day? What motivates you?
That the fact that I woke up that day and that I get to just see what the heck is like. I'm just saying it.
I'm not gonna
I guess
lie.
maybe it's hard for me to convey it, but like if you can just learn to be okay with where you're at, then you can go where you're going without needing to get there. You know what I mean?
I will say there is merit in finding peace with where you're at, because it's all about mental health. But
I think there's a lot of merit in it. That's the argument I'm trying to make.
I will say for your mental health, it is good to do that, but you should never stop moving forward.
Well, you can't stop moving forward, so I didn't claim that. Does it learning to
I felt
accept,
like that was what you were saying.
How could you stop moving forward?
How could you stop moving forward? If I said right now, hey, I'm a YouTuber and I'm a trivia host and I'm a DJ and I never want to be anything greater than that, and I just sat in this apartment and rotted away.
No, but what I'm saying is, do you want to say, what if you get to your old age and you didn't do those things? Would you be full of regret?
Would I be full of regret if I don't reach my goals?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. I would get to the end of my life and feel like I wasn't fulfilled.
What if instead you were just like, hey, I'm Uriah, or I'm at whatever you go by, I'm Afro X,
yeah.
And I passionately feel like I want to be a DJ. I am a YouTuber already, and I'm working on building on that.
Right.
I'm, all those things, and I because I am happy with myself that I feel these ways, I'm going to go out and pursue these things instead of if what you're doing is you're saying, I'm Uriah and I want to become these things. So in order, I will be happy once I get there. And with YouTube and stuff, you've done that, but you're I always want to get more and more. And maybe once I get this point and this, instead you could just be hey, I am a YouTuber and I'm happy that I am that. And because I'm happily pursuing YouTube, I'm going to continue to grow. I'm just saying, maybe you need to come from a place of you're already good enough and you're already satisfied, and that's why you're doing what you're doing, instead of maybe if I finally get there someday, I will be satisfied. If you make that mental shift, it eventually makes you feel a little better than if you look at it the other way around. I can tell you with firsthand experience.
I understand what you're saying. I really understand what you're saying.
I'm just saying that don't put the thing in front of you, but to hold it where you're at and
what
allow the satisfaction of having gotten to where you're at motivate you to move forward.
What I'm saying
instead of allowing the feeling like you're not going to make it to drive you into fear.
What I'm saying is, if I say I'm satisfied with what I've done, then I lose all motivation to move forward.
So you think satisfaction is getting to a point where you don't have to do anything else?
Satisfaction and fulfillment. Satisfaction and fulfillment. Do you know about what is it? I think it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs and reaching self-actualization.
Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah. Reaching self-actualization, I always feel is the moment where you say, I could die happy right now.
Right. And so are you saying that you could not die happy right now?
I couldn't die happy right now, no.
I could die happy right now.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep going and see what happens, but if I died right now, I've done a bunch of really cool things, and I've lived a crazy life, and I'm very happy with what I've done, and I've got a lot of things that I'd love to.
And this is personally me. This is my personal psychosis internal thing, and this isn't everybody. And it might not be you, but I will not be happy or feel like I am able to die until I know that there is some way that I will be remembered for a long time. I don't want to be forgotten for a very long time.
Oh, and I find comfort in the idea that someday nobody will ever have known I existed.
Why?
Because then it's just like the record's clean.
Okay, we have 5 minutes, but I want to dive into this. Why do you feel it like we talked about it in like one of the first episodes that the core of every person is I must be. If you don't exist, then that is bad.
But I'm saying I've come to full acceptance with it. Everything will cease to exist eventually. And I think that the complete the cycle is better than to hang on to something impossible. Do you believe that the sun's going to blow up someday and there's not going to be an Earth?
Of course.
So who's going to think about you then? And do you fear that day?
I do fear the day when the last person who knew who I was forgets who I am, and I know it will happen. I accept that it will happen. I know it will happen. I just don't want it to happen for a very long time.
I guess you and I are different too, though, because you really do like attention and people. You know, you'd like to be famous and all that.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes I'm just like, I just really would like for like nobody to perceive me right now.
We are definitely different. You're introvert. I'm extrovert.
But yeah, no, I don't like. It would be cool for everyone to know me, but I don't really particularly feel as though I think it's cool to think that every single thing will eventually end. Because that puts a lot more emphasis on what I'm doing right now than worrying about my legacy. I want to be able to tell people the cool stories about my life while I live now. And like if I die and they have to tell stories of me, they probably will. There are definitely people who will. Like, but I'm not entirely worried about what people say about me after I die.
But yeah, that's my thing. I at a base level, I try to succeed in my life because I have an overwhelming fear of being forgotten when I'm gone.
So, do you think, I guess, if you were to think about the way I am living and the way you are living with how you feel about that,
yeah,
what do you think would be a more comfortable way of living? To feel like you could die tomorrow satisfied, and to feel comfortable with the idea that...
Can I say something that's going to sound not great?
Or do you think yours is better? You say whatever you want. That's the point. I want to hear what you think. I'm genuinely...
Here's what I think.
Yes.
Actually, I'll use Rick and Morty to kind of make it better.
Yeah.
In the episode Pickle Rick at the end of the episode goes to talk to a therapist. And the therapist says that you can't judge someone for how they want to live their life because some people are perfectly happy with just living mediocre lives and going to work and she used the example of wiping their ass but she meant doing all like the regular normal things and they're perfectly happy with that. And then she looks at Rick and says, and some people like you would rather die. And she says, look at you. You are literally a genius in a pickle body, brining your own brain after a desire to like break the limits and like aim higher. So what I will say to your question is your life, yeah, probably a lot easier, probably a lot more simple, a lot more stressful. But me, I would hate to know. I would hate to be in your situation because I would know that very quickly after I die, within like 100 years, no one will remember who I am. And I hate to say that, and that sounds awful, but so true. And like my life, my a lot more stressful. I'm gonna be like chasing after everything. But when I'm gone, maybe I've been forgotten in like 1,000 years, and I'm cool with that. Or as my phone would say, well, it's all right. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
No, okay, well, good. I'm glad that you feel like what you.
And I'm
are
not
working
saying
towards,
your
so
life
am I
is.
stressing?
I'm not saying your life is bad or mediocre.
You're saying that if you lived my life, it would be bad or mediocre to you. I understand that.
Yeah.
That's fine.
If I lived your life, I would hate it.
See, I guess I enjoy.
Which honestly, if you lived my life, you might hate my life.
Like, I just don't need other people to bear witness to the cool things that I do, you know?
Yeah.
Is all. So, like, climbing up a mountain or jumping out of an airplane or things like that, I have done or will do, or things like that. Like, it's not necessarily mediocre by my definitions. I just don't need to broadcast it to anybody else. I want to be there to do it myself.
True.
For me, because I want to.
we are over time, but I do want to end on a positive note.
Yes.
On a positive note, which is that in making my AfroX channel, I've made almost 900 videos now. I can say that with like the AfroX channel and people who know about like my DJ business and stuff, I do already have a legacy where since I have all those videos on the internet, as long as the internet exists, there is a chance that I won't be forgotten, which I am very happy about that.
And I won't be forgotten either. I want to point that out. I just don't want necessarily I don't have the desire. I know we're over time, but you had to add your little thing, so I'm going to add a little bit more.
Go ahead.
We're already over time.
Yeah.
The people whose lives I am in will remember me because I know I've made an impact in their lives, because they tell me that I made an impact and I see the impact that I make. So I just try and treat every single person whose life I'm in like they are just as important as anybody else, because I think at the end of the day that's the impact that I'd like to make more. It's just with the right people than with the largest number of people, you know? So I think to be a complete hermit and live without anybody else in your life would be painful. Even to me, I couldn't do that, but I don't need people who don't actually know me like on a person-to-person level to think that they do, you know?
Yeah.
I would rather actually build personal relationships, and if that means not that many, that's okay. But the people that I do, they're going to remember me as long as they live. So, and they may tell other people. So I don't think that I'm not doing that. I just don't think that I'm pursuing the same legacy that you are. I think the legacy I'm going to get is going to be there regardless of my efforts, because what I do is just going to be remembered, you know?
Yeah.
Just like when I'm at work and stuff, and like if I do a really good job, and like often I show up to places and people are like, you're really good at this. I'm like, I just like get bored if I'm not working, so I do this stuff. And you know, there's that things like that where it's like
you already do have a bit of a legacy. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like if
Yeah.
I show up and put in the work, I don't have to worry about it. People are going to remember me whether I try and be remembered or not.
Yeah.
Just because I'm the kind of person that you can't forget. So
my whole
like,
life, if
I'm not gonna like pursue that, because it's just gonna happen, and not worrying about it or worrying about it is going to affect me more than it's going to affect the outcome. So that's all.
my whole life, if I ever like need a computer guy, I like you're the number one person I think of.
Right, and you wouldn't want me to come and hang out unless you thought I was pretty cool. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
I know my value.
I wouldn't
not worried
I wouldn't have
about
wanted
it.
to start
I'm
a
confident
podcast.
in myself, I know. So like, then what do I do? You know?
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about my legacy because it's writing itself. I'm living it.
Yeah.
Right now. And I don't care if people remember it or not. Some of the stories will be told. Some of the stories won't be told. Thank God some of the stories won't be told. I'm just going to live as much life as I can, and what other people choose to do with my life, that's up to them.
Well,
But
we're both
whether
around.
they try or not, they continue to talk about it. So
We're both-
I'm not going to have no legacy. I just want you to say that,
Yeah.
or to know that.
Yeah. We're both around the same age, so we'll both pretty much die at the same time. But if either one of us goes first, I know we won't forget each other.
No.
Well,
Yeah.
that is all for the Great Minds podcast today. My name is Uri Gillespie, philosopher,
And I'm Michael.
and we don't know the we don't know the ultimate question, but the ultimate answer will, as always, be 42. See you later, YouTube.
All right.